Welcome to my kitchen. Today I will be making meatballs with a marinara sauce. It's simple and delicious. Let's get cooking. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up my pan, my Salad Master healthy pan. And I'm gonna get probably about 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil. You could use extra virgin olive oil, but I like to use grapeseed. So about 2 tablespoons. Then what I do is I get about 4 to 5 garlic cloves, and I smash them, mince them. Not too hard, but not too much, not too fine, but I mince them. So let me get this going. Okay, like this. Okay. Let me scrape that all off. Okay. And I will drop that in there. But before I drop it in, I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper because I really don't want my garlic to burn. If it burns, it gives it a different taste. So it's very important that you don't burn your garlic. So I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper, about a teaspoon. If you don't want it too much heat, an eighth is fine, or a fourth. I'll add some oregano. I normally don't, but this time I'm going to. And in fact, I did a video not too long ago about how to make marinara sauce. So I'm making it again. This time I'm adding some oregano. About half a teaspoon. And I'm gonna add my garlic. So I add my minced garlic and I saute. While this is sauteing and I have to keep an eye on it, I've already opened up a can of tomatoes. Now always get good quality tomatoes, it's very important. And it has no flavor, it's just tomatoes. You can get the ones with the flavor if you like. All it does is make better flavor for your tomato sauce. But I didn't. So let me turn this down because I really don't want to burn my onion, my garlic. You can also add onions if you like. I don't, but you can. So you saute and you keep an eye on it. It's very important that you don't burn your garlic. Usually you know when you start smelling the fragrance. It doesn't take 2 minutes, but you really need to keep an eye on your garlic. Now, if you don't, you won't have a garlic taste if you just pour it in after 10 seconds. But again, don't let it burn because it will give you a very bitter taste. All right, so now I pour in my tomatoes. 1 can, if it's a 28 ounce. Always buy good, like I said, good quality. Don't buy Hunt's or whatnot. This is really good quality. It costs a little more, but it's worth it. And you stir that around and you leave it there. I'm gonna add a bay leaf for, again, more flavor. Here's a bay leaf, it's a dry bay leaf. I'll add that there. And I'm just gonna let it simmer for about 20 minutes or until I'll probably end up doing it until my meatballs are finished. So I'll just leave it here in a low heat. And that's it. That's all I do for my tomato sauce. Afterwards, I'll add some basil, some Parmesan cheese, but that'll be later. So let me turn it down. I'll cover it and then I'll prepare, I'll clean this all up and prepare for my meatballs. So my tomato sauce is simmering, cooking, and while that's going, let me start my meatballs. So I have 2 pounds of ground beef. Now, normally I also put veal or pork, but I didn't this time because I can't find it. But if you do 2 pounds, use half a pound of veal or half a pound of pork, or you can use both. Using just ground beef is fine too. The other ones give it flavor, but it's still good. So if you can, do it. If not, it's okay. And so what I did, and I did it already, I got 4 slices of bread, sandwich bread. I cut off the ends and I'm soaking it in water. So you soak it for about a minute. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna squeeze it out. Squeeze out all the excess water, which I'm doing right here. Let me throw this water out right here. So I'm squeezing it out. And then I make crumbles and I put it in the bread, here we go. And I tear it apart. So squeeze out all the water and you put it there. Okay, and you put it in the ground beef. Now let me just get my hands. It's all wet with water. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got 3 to 4 minced garlic, which I already minced just for time purposes. About 1/4 of finely chopped fresh parsley. That goes in there too. Please try to do it in order. I think it's best if we do it in order. I have 1/4 of a cup of Pecorino Romano cheese, grated. I grated it, it's 1/4 of a cup, 1/4. Add that there. Pine nuts. Not everyone does pine nuts. I love pine nuts. It's about 1/4 of a cup of pine nuts. There we go. 1½ teaspoons of salt, sea salt. So this is sea salt, which I already grated. It's in there. Black pepper. Let's do black pepper. About, I would say 15 turns. You can use white. White would be preferably, but I don't have white. And then I like to make a hole in the middle. And I'm going to add 4 large eggs. Okay, 4 large eggs. And the last thing I'm going to do is about breadcrumbs. I just have regular breadcrumbs. It's plain breadcrumbs. It's about 1/2 cup. Pour that on top. Now, I'm going to, with my hands, I'm going to mix it. It's best if you do it with your hands. Now, the consistency what I want is not too wet. That's what I'm looking for. So let's get to this. All right, so see this? It's all in there. So now with my hands, I'm going to mix it well. I want to incorporate all the flavors in my meatballs. Okay, so they look really good. This is the consistency I want. It's not wet. All right. So now we're going to start forming meatballs. So I already have my pan here. So let me move this over. Let me turn this off. Move it over. Put that here. All right, so you guys can all see what I'm doing. So you can add, if you're not going to use the gloves, you can add water to your hands first, and then you start making balls. It depends on how big you want them. I like them this big. You can certainly use an ice cream scooper. I'm just winging it. Okay. So let me finish doing this and then I'll be right back with you. So here's the last one. Okay, there you go. All right. So here are my meatballs. Put it on a pan. I put it on my cooking sheet because I cannot find my pan. My 11-year-old's starting to cook and I cannot find my things anymore. But here it is. And now I've already preheated my oven to 325 degrees. So I'm going to put them in my oven for about 25-30 minutes. Okay, so while that's going, I'm going to move my tomato sauce over. Let me just check it. And what I want to do, I don't want it chunky. I want it more marinara. So I'm going to put it in my food processor just to make it more smooth. So I'm going to remove the bay leaf. Remember the bay leaf I put in there? And I am going to add, now if you want some chunky, you can add maybe half of it. If you like the chunky. But I personally don't. I like mine like a marinara sauce when I put it over my meatballs. Oh, let me put the timer. Alexa, timer, 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
So all I'm gonna do is put this in my blender and blend it. And then from there, I'll just wait for my meatballs to be ready and just clean up my mess. Okay, so it's all there, as you can see. I will be right back. All right, so here I am, and it's pureed. Excellent. Now, I'm gonna put it back in the bowl, but in the pan, but you could also add, like I think I've done it on my other video, you could add mascarpone. My kids love mascarpone on it. I don't have mascarpone today. I could add whipping cream just to make it more like a vodka sauce, like a pink sauce. I haven't made up my mind yet, but this is looking really good. Really good. So I'm going to add it straight back to the pan. And then, see how smooth it is? It's very smooth. And that's it. I'll just wait for my meatballs and then we'll go from there. So my meatballs are ready. Let me take them out of the oven. Now will get watered because of all the grease. You should have like 80%, 15%, 10% fat. So here they are. Now, every oven is different. So if it's not ready by 30 minutes or so, add more time. So let me plate this. So what I do, you could do two things. You could add these to your sauce and mix it, which gives it a great flavor. But my kids right now are kind of hungry, so I need to get this moving. So there are my meatballs. I'll put some sauce. Kids, they can't wait for much. Plate it like that. Then I'll add some pepper, some parsley. I'll add some more cheese. Add parsley around. And then I will add some basil as well. Nicely chopped. Now, if you don't have basil, that's fine. You could either use parsley, you could add basil, or you can add both. Since I have a basil and basil in my garden, I'm adding basil. So we'll put some basil. We'll make it look pretty. And of course, you gotta serve it with some bread. Now, if you want more sauce, there's always more sauce, but I like it this way. And there you go. So this is my meatballs with the tomato sauce.